Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Ovarian Cancer Canada's first ever town hall. My name is Tracy Kolwich and I am the Regional Director for the West, BC, Yukon, Alberta, the Northwest Territories and Nunavut. I'm pleased to share with you that we are being joined by Elisabeth Baugh, CEO of Ovarian Cancer Canada, and you will hear from her a little later. A very large geographic region. We will tour with you as part of today's agenda. And let's begin with a little overview of the agenda for the next hour. To start, I'll take you on a bit of a tour of the region to highlight some of our work and to show the impact being made. It's clear that this impact is only possible because of you, and you'll see how you are making a difference. Then we'll consider some of the difficult challenges ahead and some of the realities of ovarian cancer. Importantly, we'll talk about some of the bold changes that Ovarian Cancer Canada is making to address these challenges and change the status quo. To ensure that we deliver on our promises, we'll take you through how we'll be holding ourselves accountable to these ambitious goals. And of course, we know that change takes a village, and it's only possible with your help. So together we will work to envision what your involvement might look like. And from there, of course, we'll take questions and do our very best to answer those. Because of the number of people across the region participating this afternoon, your line is on mute to keep us from all talking at the same time, but we do want to hear from you. So please share your insights and ask questions in chat. Simply press the chat icon that you see in the middle of your screen to open up the dialog box. To ensure that we see your comments, please ensure that your message goes to everyone. We'll look to get as many of your questions as possible over the next hour, and of course, I'm always available to discuss anything outstanding with you as well. I was personally thrilled to see how many people registered for this presentation. Joining us this afternoon, we have women who are living with this disease, their loved ones, clinicians from cancer centers, volunteers who run incredible fundraising events in their communities, our volunteer government relations advocates, ovarian cancer researchers, corporate partners, and the list goes on. Let's get started. Events that allow the community to connect, bringing special guests, women, families, and local icons together to engage and learn from one another are an incredibly important part of what we do in the West. Stakeholders in BC and Alberta have organized events not only to raise funds for Ovarian Cancer Canada, but to demonstrate to those impacted by this disease that people in their community care for them and what they are going through. What I really appreciate about these events is that they are a wonderful reflection of the passions of local community members. They range from paint and spa nights, to hockey and golf tournaments, to poker runs, to workplace fundraisers, and everything in between. An example is Up Close and Personal, hosted by the University Women's Club in Vancouver. Recently, Annie Parker joined us, diagnosed herself with cancer 3 times. Annie was among the first to be tested for the BRCA gene mutation, helping to establish a link between that mutation and ovarian and breast cancers. Guests mixed and mingled while Vancouver's own Vicky Gabbro emceed, and we all learned firsthand how Annie's story inspired a major motion picture decoding Annie Parker. It was a terrific evening. It is important to us that those impacted by ovarian cancer have credible information and the credible information that they need to help them through their experience with this disease, so that those women have the opportunity to meet others who are walking down a similar path. Local events such as meet and greets, women health forums, education evenings, and retreats for women with ovarian cancer and their caregivers are hosted regularly in the West. A provincial event in partnership with Alberta Health Services was hosted recently, specific to women with ovarian cancer and their families. And for the first time, we were able to co-broadcast from both the Tom Baker Cancer Centre and the Cross in Edmonton, as well as to reach cancer centres and communities in Medicine Hat, Lethbridge, Grand Prairie, and Red Deer. Information is shared widely with the extraordinary clinicians and staff at the BC Cancer Agency, and of course cancer centres throughout Alberta and the Northwest Territories, as well as at cancer support organizations in the West, including our friends at Wellspring and Inspire Health. This is vital because we know it is important for those impacted by this disease to be referred to us as soon as possible so that they can benefit from our resources when they need them. We also strive to stay connected with local peer support groups and cancer center specific support resources. As well, Ovarian Cancer Canada hosts 2 professionally facilitated support groups specific to women with ovarian cancer. One in Vancouver that meets twice monthly at the Centre for Peace, and the other in Edmonton that meets the 3rd Wednesday of each month at the local Wellspring. And I believe a number of those wonderful women are tuning in right now from their meeting to this town hall presentation. As Regional Director, I do my best to stay connected with local services, offering in-person presentations and promoting available resources to make sure individuals know about us and the important role that we play in the cancer community. And of course, once a year we throw a party. A fabulous, fun night of elegance, style, beauty, and comedy, of course. For those who have attended in the past, you know it is indeed a very special night. Love for Vancouver brings together fashion and a fun evening, often with Jessica Holmes as our talented host to honor women in our lives in support of Ovarian Cancer Canada. Last year, over 350 guests joined us to raise over $200,000. To date, signature events across the country have raised in excess of $2 million. And the Fairmont Vancouver Waterfront is our host for Love Her 2019, set for Thursday, April 4th. We really hope that you will join us. I wanted to show the impact that one person can have. Virginia Green, many of you know that name, and many others will have come to know this remarkable woman personally. Virginia was a community leader who brought real attention to this disease and helped move the local community to greater involvement in this urgent women's cause. She organized a luncheon aimed at educating and engaging us all, and 1,000 of her closest friends snapped up tickets. She left them in tears. Their eyes were truly opened and lives were changed forever. Virginia sadly lost her battle with this disease, and in her memory, an award was established. The Virginia Green Award honors the impact that one person can have and asks us to remember Virginia, who in a short period of time moved the agenda of ovarian cancer in BC substantially forward. The Virginia Green Award is presented each year at Love Her Vancouver to recipients for their outstanding dedication, support of others, and leadership. And Calgary, as well, showed their Lady Balls again this year, hosting a fabulous fundraiser this spring with over 280 guests in tow, joined by Global Calgary, our event media sponsor again, and they beautifully hosted the evening of fashion, music, and dance. The fabulous night brought together women from the local community to honor women and to raise important funds. Decidedly Jazz Dance will host our event again next year, the date being Thursday, May 23rd. The event sells out early every year, and we would love for you to be a part of this fabulous night. The corporate community is key. Cormark International, BC Regional Walk sponsor Odlum Brown Limited, Walk Teams Nintendo, Capri Insurance in Kelowna, the Fairmont, the important regional work with the Women Lawyers Forum and our partnership with these women leaders as the charity of choice reaching their colleagues, the fabulous team and leadership at Purdy's Chocolates, and our newest partner, Project Skin in Vancouver, and their fabulous local team all play a critical role, and we could not do this without you. A heartfelt thanks to all of our corporate sponsors for what you help make possible. The Canadian Conference on Ovarian Cancer is held every 2 years, and this year Edmonton hosted us. The conference attracts more than 150 scientists, clinicians, and trainees to 3 days of collaboration on the latest trends and breakthroughs in ovarian cancer. We hold a survivor symposium in conjunction with this scientific event, and 22 women and caregivers from Saskatchewan and Manitoba traveled on convoy to attend and hear about the very latest developments directly from leading researchers. One of the highlights of the day was the Lunch and Learn Q&A session. Women diagnosed with ovarian cancer were able to sit with students and trainees during the lunch hour, and this proved incredibly inspirational for both to meet personally the people who are doing this life-saving research, and for the trainees to be able to sit and meet those women and families they are working so hard for, and to learn firsthand the impact of their important work. With Ovarian Cancer Canada as lead sponsor of the conference, your donations helped convene this meeting of the minds. Videos featuring presenters will be available soon. To be among the first to know when they are released, please stay tuned to Seeds of Hope, or like and follow Ovarian Cancer Canada on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. CCOCR in 2020 is planned to be hosted in Ottawa. World Ovarian Cancer Day is in many cases a day when local communities launch their walk planning. In order to encourage individuals to use their voice and not only engage the community, but elected officials as well, we turned the West teal. Landmarks throughout BC, Alberta, and Nunavut turned teal in support of World Ovarian Cancer Day in record numbers, and groups met in cities throughout the regions, including groups in Vancouver, Kelowna, Calgary, and Edmonton, to share teal ribbons, government relations postcards, and to talk walk. In BC, we also used the important day as an opportunity to further engage elected officials and had ranged meetings with MP Murray Rankin and Green Party leader Andrew Weaver. Together, we're calling on the government to invest in ovarian cancer research. More about that in a bit. Advocacy has been a major focus in the West. In the region, those living with the disease, their loved ones, ovarian cancer researchers, and volunteer advocates have met with members of provincial parliament in their ridings and in Victoria for a local lobby day to advocate on provincial issues such as improvements to drug access, to make sure that when new treatments are developed and approved, such as Lynparza was recently, that they are added to the provincial formulary and made accessible to those with ovarian cancer in the West. BC and Alberta have rallied a large community of women and families to support our work with government. Beyond the meetings and lobby events, people in the West have been taking to social media, sending postcards to the Minister of Health and signing petitions to weigh in on this important women's issue. You will see on this slide that over 700 letters have been sent to the Minister of Health from the region. And if you haven't sent one yet, please do. Time is absolutely of the essence. You can easily send one by visiting our website. All you need to do is input your postal code so that the letter is sent to your MP and copied to the health minister. It takes just a few minutes. Ovarian Cancer Canada's National Board of Directors includes plenty of representation from our region. Carrie Aiken, lawyer at Blake Cassells in Graydon, Laura Nelson, former nurse, Celine Canada Inc., and business development professional, Erin Barrett, founder, Maybe Solutions, who shared her story and made news headlines, Ken Mullen, founding partner of Roundtable Capital Partners, Inc., Dr. Verna Shepard. Her roles have included undergraduate teaching and positions as Associate Dean, Dean, Vice President, and Acting President at BCIT. She is a Vancouver Marriage Commissioner and a stem cell courier for patients requiring transplant at VGH and BC Children's Hospital. Thank you to all you do on our behalf. In addition to thinking global, you're taking action at a local level. The Walk of Hope has grown in the number of locations in the province and across the country. It continues to be a very special place for women and families to gather in a circle of support. In many cases, it's where women with ovarian cancer come face to face for the first time with others who know exactly what they are going through. I often receive calls from women just after they are diagnosed, and they're often feeling alone and scared. And one of the things I mention is where the closest walk location is so that they can connect and meet others and feel much less isolated. This is just a brief overview of some of the activities taking place in the West. And before I hand this off to Elisabeth, I just wanted to take the opportunity to thank each and every one of you who has volunteered their time or donated vital funds, because you have allowed us to support and advocate on behalf of those impacted by the disease, and together you've made a tremendous impact. Thank you. Here's Elisabeth Baugh, CEO of Ovarian Cancer Canada, to tell you more about our power in numbers and the new strategic plan.
Good evening, and thank you for taking time to join us today. More than 7,000 concerned Canadians in over 35 communities nationwide raised awareness and funds in support of the Ovarian Cancer Canada Walk of Hope last September. Together, they exceeded expectations, gathering donations in excess of 1.9 million, surpassing the national goal to raise 1.8 million. These funds are already being put hard to work on the new strategic plan that we're sharing with you today. Because of walk participants, generous donors, as well as supporters, Ovarian Cancer Canada marked its 20th anniversary last year. This milestone prompted us to take stock and closely examine our priorities and where we stand to have the greatest impact as quickly as possible. There have been many changes in the external environment over time, including advances in technology, community engagement, and knowledge about the disease. The entire landscape has changed, and so must we. In planning ahead, we looked at everything we were doing. We really wanted to make a difference. But what would that look like? Women with ovarian cancer and their families deserve to benefit from treatment advances and the higher survival rates that have been seen over time in other cancers. We are committed to ensuring that ovarian cancer is no longer overlooked and underfunded. As a country, as a community, we cannot afford to let ovarian cancer fall through the cracks. Few new treatment options have been available since the 1990s, and this work continues to point to one hard truth: something has got to change. Ovarian Cancer Canada will be at the forefront of that change. To deliver what we need to deliver, our work has to be grounded in facts. We must look at what's working and what's not working. Here's what we know. There's still no screening test for the disease, and the community is really hoping for early detection. Taking a look at evidence, however, surrounding this approach, science tells us that ovarian cancer is not one disease, but rather a variety of diseases that behave very differently. And because the different subtypes of the disease grow and spread differently, it's been difficult to find a single screening test. As this research continues, we need to save lives now. As a community, we need to save lives now. We asked ourselves how, and this much is clear: research is the only way to truly stop ovarian cancer. We also know that BRCA gene mutations are involved in about 20% of the cases of ovarian cancer. We packed all of our insights into what we call our theory of change, an 8 to 10-year outlook plan that shows what the future would look like if we successfully deliver. Here's what we know. Together with the community we work with and for, we are determined to impact the outcome of this disease. Going forward, we are increasing our contribution to research funding. We will ensure women with ovarian cancer have what they need to thrive from diagnosis through their journeys. We will also work harder to reach families who are at an increased risk for ovarian cancer because of family history of the disease. These impact points guide the organization's work to enable women with ovarian cancer and all others at risk for developing this disease to live fuller, better, and longer lives. To deliver on these bold changes, Ovarian Cancer Canada is going to shift from being the doer of all things to being an instigator, more narrowly focused on what we must do while working with partners so that they too can work to their strengths. An example of such a shift is our move from general awareness to advocacy. By shining a light on the broader issues and talking to elected representatives, the community stands to benefit from substantially increased research funding. A consortium of leading researchers has already been assembled, and they are prepared to act fast to prioritize investments in support of improved treatments. Three main pillars have been identified for this investment. Improved models to learn more about how ovarian cancer starts, progresses, and how to stop it. Advanced study of promising treatment strategies to address common issues in ovarian cancer and guide development of more effective treatment. And finally, to prioritize research on emerging treatments and expedite potential treatments to clinical trials. Make sure they get out faster where they can help women sooner. So what you won't see in these plans is general awareness programming. Recent studies have shown that awareness of ovarian cancer is higher in Canada as compared to other places in the world. That said, talking only about ovarian cancer's vague signs and symptoms can be problematic. Noticing symptoms doesn't mean a woman has ovarian cancer, nor does it mean, sadly, that the disease has been caught early. We need to get more specific to underline what all Canadians need to know about ovarian cancer. So we also got more specific about our plan, looking at a 3-year strategy that will position us to deliver real change to women in Canada. Our mission calls for a focus on research. For scientific progress, significant funding will need to be invested both directly by Ovarian Cancer Canada and by the government. At the same time, women living with ovarian cancer must see improved care and support offerings so they can live their best lives. Beyond this, information about prevention has to reach women who are at high risk of ovarian cancer and others who have opportunities to reduce their risk. Because of new research on prevention, this priority will launch next year. Overall, we continue to strive to engage more women and families living with ovarian cancer to provide support and continually rally hand in hand and shoulder to shoulder towards change. I hope that you're as excited about this new strategy as we are. Please share your thoughts and any questions in the chat box as we go along. You can access it by pressing the icon at the bottom of your screen. From there, please type your feedback into the section that appears to the right of your screen. Progress is only possible with your help and support. It will take the efforts of the entire community to reach further and radically shift the course of this disease for good. Together, we can make it happen. With sites in Vancouver, Edmonton, Ottawa, and Montreal, the Ovarian Cancer Canada Tissue Banking Network gathers biological samples and makes those materials available to physicians and scientists studying ovarian cancer. Its extensive collection has been used by 450 projects throughout the country and internationally, and we're very proud that many of the breakthroughs that happened at BC with the research there used tissue from our tissue banking network. Current research projects being funded in partnership with the Cancer Research Society include a study by Dr. Yohiro Yamanaka at McGill University. He's exploring how high-grade serous ovarian cancer, the most common subtype of this disease, first develops in the fallopian tubes, what it looks like, how it develops, and eventually spreads into the ovaries, to see if there's a way that he can catch this cancer early. A project by Dr. Trevor Shepherd at the London Regional Cancer Programme, looking at whether a coping mechanism in cancer cells enables them to survive chemotherapy. Hope here is to see if the coping mechanism can be blocked to override chemoresistance. and research by Dr. Jim Petrick at the University of Guelph, who was learning about tumor blood supply, which is the vehicle for treatment delivery. In this work, Dr. Petrick will see if improving a tumor's blood supply can make treatment delivery actually more effective. This could reduce required drug dosages and lead to less toxicity and fewer side effects. Tracy mentioned the Canadian Conference on Ovarian Cancer Research, and it's a unique meeting of the minds that was founded by Dr. Barbara Vanderheiden, the Boyer Chair in Ovarian Cancer Research, when there were only 3 researchers in Canada studying ovarian cancer. This biennial gathering has helped raise the profile of ovarian cancer research in Canada, and it's fostered one of the world's most collaborative and engaged scientific communities focused on this disease. And as Tracy mentioned, we are proud to be the premier sponsor of this every event, which happens every 2 years. Of course, research is expensive, and we will need many others to pitch in. That's why we met with Federal Health Minister Jeanette Petitpas-Taylor in October to discuss federal research funding. She was incredibly supportive at our meeting. We reached that touchstone because 3,351 concerned citizens wrote to their federal elected representatives about the need for research funding. This is over and above nearly 13,000 people who signed their names to a related petition that was read in the House of Commons. 38 advocates took to the corridors of power and met face to face with national decision makers on Parliament Hill. Because of all these efforts, today we are closer than ever to securing $10 million in federal funding to support more ovarian cancer research. Beyond this exciting momentum, Ovarian Cancer Canada has convened a vibrant community of women living with this disease. Today, 428 women with ovarian cancer are registered on OV Dialogue, our online community, where they can support one another, share stories, give, and get advice. More than 1,000 women this year received By Your Side or Still By Your Side, resources for those facing a new diagnosis or a recurrence. These free guides assure women know that they are not alone in their journeys with ovarian cancer, and they bring together insights from women who've been there, as well as the best available information from experts in the field. 264 people have heard webinars live or ones that have been recorded. With these pillars of success, we're charging ahead, measured and strategic in our next steps. To deliver on the mission, we're holding ourselves accountable for increasing research investments, not only in research funding contributed by Ovarian Cancer Canada, but by government and by partner investors, which are focused on our areas of priority. We're going to be accountable for improving care, starting with an evaluation of current status of ovarian cancer care in Canada, gathering feedback to support women living with ovarian cancer in care-related decision-making. We'll continue to work to reach more people affected by ovarian cancer, increasing the number of women with ovarian cancer directly benefiting from or involved in Ovarian Cancer Canada programs and initiatives, while also increasing engagement with their family and friends. We'll be informing women about preventive action, establishing formal recommendations on prevention, and increasing genetic testing among women with ovarian cancer and those with a family history of the disease. We'll be investing for maximum impact and maintaining our high standards in fundraising and administration expenses. Working with and for the community, Ovarian Cancer Canada is looking for your help. Change takes a village, and we can't thank you enough for being so generous with your time and your contributions along this journey. As we look ahead, efforts continue to call for all hands on deck. These changes cannot happen without your support. We're eager to know if you see yourself getting further involved. Please let us know in the chat box, and you can access it by pressing the icon again at the bottom of your screen. I'm going to hand it back to Tracy to tell you about some of the opportunities to get involved.
Thank you, Elisabeth. Now, what can you do to help? There are so many opportunities to join us in the important work that we do. A few I'll just review now. To get involved in government relations, we're looking for advocates, meeting and corresponding directly with federal elected reps, engaging the community in government relations efforts, share your story with elected officials, an important role. OV Dialogue contributors, greeting new users and making helpful introductions, moderating discussions. If you have been diagnosed with ovarian cancer, we can use your leadership. Social media ambassadors, engaging with friends and followers on social media to reach more Canadians and encouraging participation in advocacy and in giving campaigns. And community champions, sharing stories with the media, informing the public on the realities of ovarian cancer and what needs to be done. Walk leadership, planning and presenting the Ovarian Cancer Canada Walk of Hope in your community, working together with our team to bring about an event where women and families feel supported as they raise funds for programs and research. Fundraisers, walk, galas, community events of great importance are these. Co-chairing and organizing fundraisers of every size and shape and leading walk teams to fundraising success. And of course, corporate champions, opening the doors to enable connections with your company or professional network and to allow us to test or pitch opportunities for future corporate sponsorships. We're now going to address the questions asked. We will try and get to as many as possible. Just a reminder, to ask a question, simply press the chat icon that you see in the middle of your screen to open up the dialog box. To ensure that we see your question, please ensure that your message goes to everyone. We'll look to get as many of your questions as possible over the next hour. And of course, I'm always available to discuss anything outstanding with you as well. I've received a few questions from our colleague who are managing these at our national team. One specifically related to partnerships. The question is, mention was made of partnering with other organizations. Who are Ovarian Cancer Canada's partners? So Ovarian Cancer Canada partners include many professional associations. A few are the Society of Gynecologic Oncology of Canada, the Society of Obstetricians and Gynecologists of Canada. We also partner with advocacy organizations such as the Canadian Coalition for Genetic Fairness and Health Charities Coalition of Canada, and numerous corporations who sponsor special initiatives and as well events. And I have another question here related to the walk. Why isn't there a walk in my community? The walk is actually a volunteer-led event, and we are always looking for leadership from volunteers to help plan and present the walk in their community. So if there are individuals listening and attending this town hall today that would like more information about how to get involved, you can email us at info@ovariancancerwalkofhope.ca. There's a question as well about the office in Calgary.
I'm happy to take that.
I'll pass that to you, Elisabeth.
Thank you. Since the Calgary office closed, we've been very concerned and careful to ensure that the women in Alberta benefited from continued support. So as we mentioned starting this conference, Tracy is actually the Regional Director for Alberta, BC, Nunavut, the Northwest Territories, and the Yukon, and she makes regular visits to Alberta to check in with the partners we've mentioned, to visit women living with ovarian cancer, to see the support groups, to listen to what is needed, and to offer support in every way that we possibly can. Her information will be provided again at the end of this session for anyone who would like to get in touch.
If there are any other questions for either myself or Elisabeth, please use the chat icon at the bottom of the screen, and type in the box that appears to the right. I'll just review one more question that I've received about the Lady Ball. Sorry, I'm just trying to get the details. I was surprised to see that the Lady Balls campaign wasn't mentioned. What are the next steps? Elisabeth, may I pass that to you as well?
Certainly. That campaign was very, very successful. Certainly put us on the radar screen and got people talking about ovarian cancer, and that was our goal. It received tremendous acclaim internationally. It won awards, and it was the first time ovarian cancer actually captured headlines in Canada, reaching millions of Canadians. We were on the national news. It's been tremendous to see #LadyBalls taking a life of its own in the community. As Tracy mentioned, there are Lady Ball events in Calgary, Saskatoon, and in Halifax, and people are supporting t-shirts with the word Lady Balls emblazoned on it. Right now, we're looking at the next steps in the campaign. I invite you to stay tuned. It certainly has shifted our voice to a stronger, more empowered voice, just the campaign itself, and we're really looking forward to the next steps. It raised awareness about ovarian cancer, and we've shifted that awareness to an advocacy voice that we invite you to join in.
Thanks, Elisabeth. There's one question on our chat box. If no research funds, then what is Plan B?
No research fund from the government? I'm assuming that's what you mean, Barb. Well, Plan B is that we don't stop. We push harder. This is an election year. This is a nonpartisan issue. Every single party in the government should care about this. And there are excellent examples in other jurisdictions. Our colleagues in the UK formed an all-party group to push this forward. We know that the status of women are behind it, and that includes women from all parties. And we will just continue. We will not stop. We are so close now and have so much support in the caucus of this government that if we don't get it this year, we aren't giving up. We will just keep pushing harder.
A question from Ken Mullen, one of our board members. Any thoughts about joining other women's cancer organizations in a manner similar to Movember?
The other women's cancer organizations, we are the only gynecological cancer organization, Ken, and now that the largest breast cancer organization has folded into the Cancer Society, their focus has shifted quite a bit. So we always look for opportunities to partner, especially around increasing funds and attention to the disease. So certainly our eyes are open and we're watching for those opportunities always.
Thanks, Elisabeth. Kelly's asking, what is up and coming in terms of drug trials? She was diagnosed in August of 2016 and fighting right now for the third time.
Kelly, I'm sorry to hear that. Navigating clinical trials is really complicated, and it's would be a lot for me to try to explain right now to you, but we'd be happy to follow up directly with you. We are working with a number of organizations to try to make access in clinical trials easier for women, understanding what they're eligible for, and part of our strategic plan is ensuring more women have access to them regardless of where they live. So perhaps we can follow up and help you. There are still new drugs in the pipeline, and clinical trials will be coming out for those on an ongoing basis.
There's a question about living with ovarian cancer. Thousands of Canadian women are living with ovarian cancer in Canada. Why is Ovarian Cancer Canada reaching all of them?
Oh, what a good question. By our calculations, every year we're reaching about 30% of the women living with ovarian cancer through our one-on-one support calls, the website, social media, our walk, and people who are ordering our resource guide. This figure is actually consistent with charities for other diseases that are much larger, and it's actually a very powerful testament to the impact of your donations that we're able to be out there in such a big way in the community. At the same time, the question remains, what about the other 70%? And you saw in our strategic plan, we want to reach more people, an ever growing portion of those diagnosed. And we aim to do so by delivering innovative programs like OV Dialogue, which has already led to new connections only a year after its launch. And of course, we'll continue to bring value through our ongoing year-round programs of supportive care.
Elisabeth, there's another question related to clinical trials. To help women thrive, will Ovarian Cancer Canada provide travel bursaries so we can get to clinical trials?
That's a really tough one because much as we would like to, they are difficult to access, as I said, and we would have to provide support that was equitable and fair across the country and sustainable. This type of assistance really rightfully lives within the healthcare system, and so that's why we're going to use our advocacy voice so that women with ovarian cancer receive the care they need regardless of where they live. The research investments that Ovarian Cancer Canada has directly contributed and influenced are already benefiting women across the whole country.
Thanks, Elisabeth. Holly, thank you so much for jumping on and asking this question. Holly is based in Kamloops and has been extraordinarily active in hosting different fundraisers in memory of her daughter, Haley. And they are indeed looking at starting a walk there in the coming year. I think lots and lots of interest in having more happen in that community. And I know we do as much as we can to try and promote those activities as you schedule them. But I would love to be in touch with you directly to talk about how we can support you even further to get that community even more active.
Yes, Holly, thank you so much. We do work with a number of families and communities and people that have been touched by the disease across the country. So we have a lot of good models of things that some are more complex than others, some are quite more manageable with a smaller group of people. There's a wide variety of things that we would probably be able to give you some information about so you could choose what suited you.
There's a question, Elisabeth, about awareness. What is going to happen to knowledge is power?
Well, we will always be providing information and knowledge, and as you all know, volunteers across the country have used that program to talk to their communities, a general awareness presentation for years. And those grassroots efforts combined with the attention garnered through our campaign to get people talking about ladyballs really took awareness of this disease to a whole new level in Canada. In fact, the Every Woman study, which was recently completed by the World Ovarian Cancer Coalition, showed that there was a marked positive difference in Canada in awareness as compared to other countries around the globe. So what we're doing now in this new strategic plan is pushing the message further from our new platform, bringing the case for support to Parliament Hill. Awareness is there now. We need to advocate for more research funding. We need more voices speaking to federally elected representatives about the need for scientific progress against this disease. So instead of asking Canadians just to be aware, we're making the important shift to compel them to take action.
And Elisabeth, the question was one more about the meeting with the minister. Can you provide us some details about that meeting?
Oh, it was so incredibly exciting. I can't even tell you. I'm delighted to tell you about it. We were very well prepared. We had our pitch ready, and we just could not believe her overwhelming support. She listened to our case. We explained why the money was needed, how the money that we're asking for now will take all of the findings, the research, the breakthroughs to date, and push it just that much farther to really impact saving women's lives. She completely understood, and at the end of the meeting said that she would fully support our request for this money and that she would put it in her budget request. So it was our second meeting with her. A small delegation had spoken with her early in the spring, and she did tell us that the whole caucus was talking about our lobby day, that people were very impressed with the case we had made, and she said there's nothing you could have done more. You were very well positioned. So we're crossing all our fingers.
Thanks, Elizabeth. If there are no other questions, I just would like to thank again everyone for taking time out of your afternoon and or evening, depending on where you are, to join us. It's really inspiring to have so many people tune in and to help us advance this really important and vital work. And just a special thank you as well to our sponsor, KPMG, for supporting this town hall. KPMG has been a long-standing and generous supporter of Ovarian Cancer Canada. I really just would like to thank this amazing corporate champion for providing such a special opportunity to convene. And with that, I'll include my contact information on screen and would invite and welcome and encourage everyone to reach out if there are requests for additional information or you have questions that perhaps we didn't get to this afternoon. Thank you again, everyone, for tuning in. Thank you, Elizabeth, as well, for sharing this platform with me, and I look forward to being in touch with all of you soon.
Thank you all so much. It was wonderful having this time with you.